Welcome. Welcome to this sacred time of darkness and silence, of music and ancient story. Welcome if you have been coming to First Parish in Bedford's Tenebrae Good Friday service since the beginning, or if you are coming to this hybrid in-person and Zoom Tenebrae service for the first time. This week, in the Christian liturgical week, is Holy Week, the end of the season of Lent, and today, of course, is Good Friday. The word tenebrae that we use to describe this service means darkness or shadows in Latin, and originally these Tenebrae services happened over the 3 days before Easter in the Roman Catholic Church. The story of Jesus' Last Supper, his betrayal, death, and burial were told over these days, while candles were slowly extinguished, leaving worshipers in the dark by the end. Our service is similar. We will use passages from the Gospel of Mark to tell the story of Jesus' death. We'll listen to our choir sing songs of lament, originally written for a funeral. At the close of our worship, we will engage in a ritual laying down stones as a way of mourning. We take these practices from our spiritual ancestors, and we make them into something that serves this community. So as we move through this service, I invite you to lean into it, whatever ways work best for you. You can listen closely to the ancient story, or just let it flow like breath. You can bask in the music, let it move you to tears. Hold space for feelings, even the petty or surprising ones. This is a space, whether you are here physically or virtually, to be present in the ways that are meaningful to you. Good Friday is the one day in the Christian tradition where there is no pressure to find the good news. Yes, we know Easter is coming. We know that the Christian story does not end here on Good Friday. But today is a day for acknowledging the violence and pain of this world. From the large-scale destruction of the earth itself to the many losses we all experience on a personal level, there is a lot to be angry and sad and heartbroken about. There is unthinkable war. There is this always changing pandemic. There are new laws all the time, all over this country, designed to control and destroy people who don't conform to the patriarchy. There is disconnection among loved ones and illnesses of every type. There is death. Today we do not turn away. Instead, we grieve. We grieve because we love. We love life. We love each other. We love ourselves, and we love this earth. Let us hold space for the sorrowful side of love.
Jesus prays in Gethsemane. They went to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." He took with him Peter and James and John and began to be distressed and agitated. And he said to them, I am deeply grieved, even to death. Remain here and keep awake." And going a little farther, he threw himself on the ground and prayed that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. He said, "Abba, Father, for you all things are possible. Remove this cup from me, yet not what I want, but what you want." He came and found them sleeping, and he said to Peter, "Simon, are you asleep? Could you not keep awake 1 hour? Keep awake and pray that you may not come into the time of trial. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." And again he went away and prayed, saying the same words. And once more he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were very heavy, and they did not know what to say to him. He came a third time and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and taking your rest? Enough! The hour has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand."
Immediately, while he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived, and with him there was a crowd with swords and clubs from the chief priests, the scribes, and the elders. Now the betrayer had given them a sign, saying, "The one I will kiss is the man. Arrest him and lead him away under guard." So when he came, he went up to him at once and said, "Rabbi," and kissed him. Then they laid hands on him and arrested him. But one of those who stood near drew his sword and struck the slave of the high priest, cutting off his ear. Then Jesus said to them, "Have you come out with swords and clubs to arrest me, as though I were a bandit? Day after day I was with you in the temple teaching, and you did not arrest me. But let the scriptures be fulfilled." All of them deserted him and fled.
As soon as it was the morning, the chief priests held a consultation with the elders and scribes and the whole council. They bound Jesus, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate. Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" He answered him, "You say so." Then the chief priests accused him of many things. Pilate asked him again, "Have you no answer? See how many charges they bring against you." But Jesus made no further reply, so that Pilate was amazed. Now at the festival, he used to release a prisoner for them, anyone for whom they asked. Now a man called Barabbas was in prison with the rebels who had committed murder during the insurrection. So the crowd came and began to ask Pilate to do for them according to his custom. Then he answered them, "Do you want me to release for you the king of the Jews?" For he realized that it was out of jealousy that the chief priests had handed him over. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd to have him release Barabbas for them instead. Pilate spoke to them again. "Then what do you wish me to do with the man you call the king of the Jews?" They shouted back, "Crucify him." Pilate asked him, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they shouted all the more, "Crucify him." So Pilate, wishing to satisfy the crowd, released Barabbas for them. And after flogging Jesus, he handed him over to be crucified.
Then the soldiers led him into the courtyard of the palace, that is, the governor's headquarters, and they called together the whole cohort. And they clothed him in a purple cloak, and after twisting some thorns into a crown, they put it on him. And they began saluting him. "Hail, King of the Jews!" They struck his head with a reed, spat upon him, and knelt down in homage to him. After mocking him, they stripped him of the purple cloak and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him out to crucify him. They compelled a passerby who was coming in from the country to carry his cross. It was Simon of Cyrene, the father of Alexander and Rufus. Then they brought Jesus to the palace called Golgotha, which means the place of a skull. And they offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. And they crucified him and divided his clothes among them, casting lots to decide which each should take. It was 9 o'clock in the morning when they crucified him. The inscription of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." And with him they crucified 2 bandits, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by derided him, shaking their heads and saying, "Aha! You who would destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself and come down from the cross." In the same way, the chief priestess, along with the scribes, were also mocking him among themselves and saying, "He saved others. He cannot save himself. Let the Messiah, the King of Israel, come down from the cross so that we may see and believe." Those who were crucified with him and also taunted him. When it was noon, darkness came over the whole land, and 3 in the afternoon. At 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, "Listen, he is calling to Elijah." And someone ran, filled a sponge with some sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink, saying, "Wait, let's see whether Elijah will come to take him down." Then Jesus gave a loud cry and breathed his last, and the curtain of the temple was torn in 2 from top to bottom. Now when the centurion who stood facing him saw that in this way he breathed his last, he said, "Truly, this man was God's Son."
There were also women looking on from a distance. Among them were Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, the younger, and of Joseph and of Salome. These used to follow him and provided for him when he was in Galilee. And there were many other women who had come up with him to Jerusalem. When evening had come, and since it was the day of preparation, that is, the day before the Sabbath, Joseph of Arimathea, a respected member of the council, who was also himself waiting expectantly for the kingdom of God, went boldly to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate wondered if he were already dead, and summoning the centurion, he asked him whether he had been dead for some time. When he learned from the centurion that he was dead, he granted the body to Joseph. Then Joseph bought a linen cloth, and taking down the body, wrapped it in the linen cloth and laid it in a tomb that had been hewn out of the rock. He then rolled a stone against the door of the tomb. Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of Joseph, saw where the body was laid.
You Are Here by Christine Valters Painter. You are the now and the not yet, the darkened dawn just before the first rays rise, and you are the rays that pierce and prod. You are the siren screeching through city streets, dropping me to my knees in prayer. You are the lilac and the dust, the refugee's body found on shore with empty pockets. You are the wound that does not heal, the salve, the bandage, and the raised scar that remains. You are the dandelion growing through concrete cracks, the mirror smashed into pieces, the mosaic created. You are the vigil for my mother dying. You are the steady beep of the heart rate monitor and the long tone that makes me wail. You are ash from the burning towers. The great gashed tree felled by storm, now moss-coated, silent. You are the gray headstone and the red bird that lands and sings. The gaunt face I ignore while rushing down the street. You are the old man's spectacles and the love letters from his wife now gone. You are thick grime, a sob stuck in the throat, the voice long silent, speaking once again.
God, who is as powerful as the Big Bang and as vulnerable as a baby born in a stable. God who shows up as stars and bees, as oceans and trees, as people with teachings so threatening to the status quo that they are executed by the state. God who is always present, who never controls nor abandons. God outside of time, beyond all words, found in stories, songs, and silence. We are here in this space to honor the shadows. We are people grieving losses. We are people fighting for justice. We are people trying to heal our bodies, our hearts, and our spirits. We are people in need of support. We are trying to love better, trying to find our way. We are angry and sad. We are confused and so scared. Move in our bodies. Help us to carve out space for our grief. Pull us away from the shame spirals, the anxiety loops, the rage binges. Pull us into a deep ocean of love where our tears can be held. Pull us onto a strong mountain of love where our anger can echo powerfully. Pull us into a soft blanket of love that can hold all our fears. Hold for us all that is too much, all that is unbearable, all that our bodies cannot contain. Help us to set down that which is no longer ours to carry, and make this space of darkness and silence into a time of sacred mourning and deep rest. May it be so.
This isn't our usual Good Friday service. If it were, here at First Parish, we would have brought out the communion silver and we would have shared a meal together on this first night of Passover. But this is not our usual Good Friday service. When I say the words grief, loss, Ukraine, COVID, death, these are the things we've been dealing with over the past couple of years. Tonight, we're going to take a tradition from the Judaic tradition of stones of remembrance. There are many different theories as to why those of the Hebrew faith go to graves and put stones on them. Most of us buy flowers and we put them on graves and we celebrate. But those of the Hebrew tradition They have a more pragmatic view of it. Flowers die and go away. Stones are with us forever. When they put them on the grave, it symbolizes their feelings of loss, their feelings of grief. It symbolizes part of their soul which they are putting on the ground to touch the soul beneath it. There are some who think that what it does is you put a stone down and it will keep the earthly body below, so that in fact the spiritual body can rise up. If you go into any Jewish cemetery, Jewish military cemetery, there are so many stones on soldiers' graves, it's like cairns while hiking in the mountains. They're 2 and 3 feet high. They're significant. And the stones we share tonight, hold them in your hand and then release them.
So for those who are with us here in the sanctuary, if you feel so moved, you may come forward. I have a basket of stones that I'll be holding off to the side. And if you can come up on this side of the sanctuary and take a stone, you can place it on the steps. And you may also light candles on this side when you're finished, if you like, or just light candles if you prefer. As Brad noted, this is a ritual of laying down burdens, of honoring losses. And for you, the stone, whether you are able to take a physical stone or whether it's a stone you're holding in your heart, it may be a big grief for the world. It may be a small grief in your life. It may be encompassing and personal. I invite you, though, to think of something that you are ready to set down, at least partially, and imbue that into the stone or into your time of silent meditation, as you prefer. We will hold silence during this ritual. You may come forward as you like or meditate silently on Zoom. After our postlude, you are welcome to stay sitting in silence, physically or virtually with us, for as long as you like. And we do encourage you to leave silently, to respect that others may be keeping the silence. I'll close with this quote from Robin Wall Kimmerer. Our grief is the measure of how much we love the world.